In a single decade, one company turned an industry on its head. It made electric cars fast, desirable, and mainstream. It rallied fans and rattled rivals. It treated the car like software on wheels, and it scaled from scrappy startup to global force. Factories rose, and the world took notice. This is the story of how Tesla reshaped the road. From niche experiment to household name, and how the entire industry was forced to follow. Let's begin. Let's be honest, for the longest time, the idea of an electric car was about as exciting as a documentary on the migratory patterns of garden snails. They were slow, they were ugly, and they had the range of a housefly with a head cold. You imagine them being driven by people who wore sandals with socks and thought tofu was a reasonable substitute for a steak. The electric car was a joke, a glorified golf cart that sensible people who enjoy the smell of petrol and the sound of a V8, rightfully ignored. It was a science project, not a proper motor car, and certainly not something you'd ever aspire to own or, heaven forbid, be seen in. Then, in 2003, a group of engineers in California decided this simply wouldn't do. They looked at the pathetic electric contraptions puttering about and thought, no, this is all wrong. Martin Eberhard, Mark Tarpenning. They had a rather audacious, some would say completely crackers, idea. They believed it was possible to build an electric car that wasn't just environmentally friendly, but was also desirable. A car that was fast, looked fantastic, and could actually travel a respectable distance before its batteries gave up the ghost. They weren't trying to build a better milk float. They were trying to build a proper sports car that just happened to be powered by electricity. This new company was named Tesla, a nod to the brilliant and eccentric inventor Nikola Tesla, a man who a century earlier had dreamed of wireless power. It was a fitting name for a company with such a monumental task ahead of it. They didn't have the vast factories of Detroit or the engineering heritage of Stuttgart. What they had was a clean sheet of paper, a mountain of ambition, and a complete disregard for the established rules of the automotive world. After the Roadster proved that electric cars could be fast, Tesla set its sights on a much bigger prize, proving they could be practical, luxurious, and desirable for everyday use. The result, unveiled in 2012, was the Model S. And what a result it was. This was no small sports car. It was a big, handsome, 5-door saloon. It looked like it had been designed in the 21st century. It was sleek, minimalist, and utterly different from Mercedes or BMW. It didn't just look like the future, it felt like it. The real revolution was what was on the inside, or rather, what wasn't. The traditional dashboard, cluttered with dozens of buttons and dials, was gone. In its place was a gigantic 17-inch touchscreen that controlled almost everything. Navigation, music, climate control, sunroof. It turned the interior into a high-end consumer electronic device. You could get software updates over the air, just like a smartphone. The car could actually get better and gain new features while parked overnight. This was unheard of in the automotive world. It was astonishingly quick. Some versions could embarrass genuine supercars. It was the first electric car to offer a truly usable range. Well over 200 miles, later 300 miles on a single charge. This eliminated range anxiety. The Model S wasn't just a good electric car, it was a great car. And that changed everything. The Model S was a triumph, but it was also a very expensive car, well out of reach for the average person. Elon Musk's grand plan was always a three-step process. Start with a low-volume, high-priced sports car, use that money to build a medium-volume, lower-priced luxury car, and then use that money to create a high-volume, affordable car for the masses. That final, crucial step was the Model 3. Unveiled in 2016, the anticipation was off the charts. Hundreds of thousands of people placed a $1,000 deposit for a car they had never even seen in person, a level of hype usually reserved for a new iPhone. The Model 3 was designed to be the electric car for everyone. It was smaller and simpler than the Model S, but it retained the core Tesla DNA minimalist design, a large central touchscreen, impressive range, and blistering performance for its class. This was the car that was supposed to transform Tesla from a niche manufacturer of luxury toys into a true mass-market automotive giant. The demand was overwhelming, but this created a new colossal problem for the company. It's one thing to build a few hundred cars a week by hand. It's another thing entirely to churn out hundreds of thousands a year on a modern assembly line. Tesla had to learn how to be a real car company, and fast. To solve the production puzzle, and particularly the critical issue of battery supply, Tesla embarked on one of its most audacious projects yet, the Gigafactory. This wasn't just a factory, it was a statement of intent. The plan was to build a facility so enormous that, by itself, it would produce more lithium-ion batteries than the entire world's production combined. The first Gigafactory in Nevada was a monumental undertaking, essential for driving down the cost of batteries, which is the single most expensive component of an electric car. Tesla didn't just build one Gigafactory, they started building them around the world, in China, in Germany, and in Texas. This strategy was about more than just making batteries. It was about building cars closer to the customers who were buying them, reducing logistics costs, and navigating complex international trade rules. Alongside electrification, Tesla made another bold promise: to solve self-driving. It rolled out a feature it called Autopilot to assist with the most tedious parts of driving. When it worked, it felt like a glimpse into the future. The transition from niche player to mass-market manufacturer with the Model 3 was anything but smooth. Elon Musk called it production hell. The company had wildly underestimated the complexities of mass-producing a car. Musk's highly automated assembly line failed spectacularly. Tesla ripped out the robots and relied on human workers. The Fremont factory was in chaos. Deadlines were missed, quality control problems were rampant, and cash burn pushed them toward bankruptcy. Stories emerged of workers sleeping on the factory floor, frantic fixes to production bottlenecks, and a pervasive sense of crisis. To hit targets, they built a temporary assembly line in a giant tent in the Fremont car park. It horrified manufacturing traditionalists, but it helped Tesla ramp up output. The struggles played out publicly, with critics and short sellers betting on collapse. Tesla faced intense scrutiny over vehicle safety and autopilot. There were, tragically, a number of high-profile accidents, including some fatal incidents where autopilot was engaged. Those incidents sparked intense media scrutiny and investigations from safety regulators around the world. Tesla consistently defended the system, publishing safety data, claiming cars with autopilot were statistically safer. The company emphasized it is an assistance feature and the driver must stay fully attentive and ready to take control. The debate became a battle between two philosophies: Tesla's beta in the wild approach versus the cautious, lab-first automotive approach. This push accelerated the whole industry's self-driving efforts. It forced other car makers to speed up their self-driving R&D programs. Inconsistent panel gaps, paint defects, other fit and finish issues, things you don't expect on a premium car. These complaints tarnished the brand, suggesting speed was being prioritized over quality. Musk's behavior added fuel to the fire: erratic use of Twitter, public disputes with journalists, analysts, and regulators, and sometimes outlandish promises. His vision was an asset, his persona often a liability. Stocks swung and distractions mounted. Tesla's rise is inseparable from these struggles. A near breakdown, it somehow survived. For better or worse, Tesla kept moving, fast, and in forcing the conversation, it changed the industry's course. For decades, the global car industry operated like a comfortable, slow-moving club. Ford, General Motors, Volkswagen, Toyota. They had been around for a century. They had things figured out. Release a new model, make a few small improvements to the engine, tweak the styling, and call it a day. Electric cars were seen as a compliance issue, not something real customers would buy in large numbers. Then Tesla came along and blew the doors off the clubhouse. Model S, Model 3. They proved a seismic shock to the system. It proved beyond any doubt that a huge market existed for compelling, high-performance electric cars. It showed a new company could build a product customers would line up and pay for. Suddenly, the executives in the boardrooms of Detroit, Wolfsburg, and Tokyo were forced to confront a terrifying reality. They were being left behind. Their decades of expertise in internal combustion were rapidly becoming obsolete. The response, when it came, was a mad scramble. Tens of billions, hundreds of billions poured into EVs. Volkswagen launched its ID family of electric cars. General Motors committed to an all-electric future. Ford put the iconic Mustang name on an electric SUV, the Mach-E. Every major brand launched an EV strategy, desperate to convince investors and customers they were serious. Tesla's direct-to-consumer model challenged a century-old practice. Its focus on software and over-the-air updates made cars into evolving tech products. Its investment in batteries and charging highlighted the power of owning the ecosystem. Tesla didn't just build a new car, it created a new blueprint for a 21st century car company, and the old guard is still trying to copy it. As we stand here today, the revolution that Tesla kickstarted is in full swing, and it is irreversible. Whether Tesla remains king of EVs or becomes one of many in a crowded market, its impact is undeniable. When the history of the 21st century automobile is written, the first chapter will be titled Tesla. The road ahead will be full of competition, but it's a road they paved. Subscribe for more automotive documentaries.